All right. Welcome to the show and happy Halloween. This is the Frankly Fantasy Football Podcast. We are your hosts, Frankie and Johnny. Good morning, man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, John. I'm just cracking up. And can you please describe what you're wearing to the people that are just listening, because they know they can't see, but to those viewing, they're like, wait, aren't you a Ride and Die Browns fan? I'm just curious. Would you elaborate a little bit further?
I am a Ride and Die Browns fan. However, number one, two things, Frankie. We'll touch on this here. Number one, it's Halloween. We're recording this on Halloween, so happy Halloween, everyone. I am dressed up as an asshole.
Love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Number two, I went to the Steelers-Jaguars game this weekend in Pittsburgh. Very strange experience. Being a Browns fan, I bought a Pickens jersey. I did start Pickens, so that was fun. I got to watch him live. Bought the hat. I was still wearing my Browns shoes. I felt like an imposter. I'm walking around in a sea of black and gold, and I'm looking at the guy that took me to the game. And I'm like, man, I'm just kind of nervous. Like, I feel like they're going to find out. Like, he's a fraud. No. Get him. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience, but I got to tell you, man, let's look at it more on a macro level here. You know, what I realized, close my eyes, watching the game, hearing them, chants to fire Canada, booing the refs. I got to tell you, it felt like being at a Cleveland Browns fan. I really did. If you closed your eyes, listen, man, this is a macro thing here. As above, so below. It's good to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. You know, somebody you disagree with, walk a mile in their shoes. Spend a day looking like an asshole as a Steelers fan, feel their pain. I feel like I've come closer together with my enemy. I feel that I understand where they're coming from with everything going on in the Middle East. I know this is just football, but maybe it's a metaphor for things in the future here. Walk a mile in their shoes. We have way more in common than we do differences. Trust me.
I'll tell you what, it was even more in common because the Steelers got their ass beat. So you had to feel right at home. It was just like, oh my God, this is like a normal.
It did. Yeah. Really terrible ref calls with pass interference or roughing the passers. They were really bad, man. It's just one of those things of a different experience, and I enjoy that. It's really fun for me. Yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, you can join us on social media on Instagram at Frankly Fantasy Football. I know you're all listening on the podcast, on the audio. Please join us on YouTube. You can see me dressed up like an asshole with a Steelers outfit on. So welcome. All right, everyone. Today we've got our Week 8 Ice and Fire. We're going to see how things shook out. We're going to talk some Thursday Night Football preview, and we're going to get to the news, baby.
The season's out to your listeners don't expect much.
News and notes.
All right, let's see what's happening here. How bad the damage was, man. We got some quarterback issues this week, guys. All right, Kirk Cousins, man. This is so unfortunate. He is out for the season with a torn Achilles. Just brutal, terrible timing for Kirk Cousins. Rumors of him being traded. I don't think that was going to happen. They love him too much, but it's a contract year for him. How many years does he really have left? Can he even come back from this? A lot of questions out there for Kirk Cousins. All right, Frankie, talk to me a little bit here. There's a guy nobody knows. Jaren Hall, rookie quarterback, is going to be his backup. Will end up starting here. We got JJ coming back maybe after the bye in a couple of weeks. What is this doing? Who the hell is Jaren Hall? And what's this going to do to the other assets for this team?
Yeah, great questions. John, Jaren Hall is first and foremost, guys, he's a rookie. He ended up playing at BYU, ended up doing pretty damn well. So we got another
we got a
kid coming out.
Yeah, a little fucking Mormon kid. Another one. All right.
Two.
Let's go. Let's go. Bring the whites out. Come on, whites.
Come on. So yeah, man. I mean, he had a decent year. He had a decent year at BYU last year. Obviously, stepping in, trying to fill the shoes of Kirk Cousins, it didn't work out at all. So I wouldn't be surprised, Sean, if the Vikings are not committed to him and go out to get another guy. Word on the street is that JJ was messaging Jameis Winston because they were practicing during the offseason together and getting some throwing in. So apparently JJ's been whispering, and again, there's a few reports that are saying this, that he's pushing to bring a trade to bring Jameson in. And that actually could make sense because the rise in what Taysom Hill has been doing, especially from the running perspective, he could be enough to be their backup quarterback. We've seen him play quarterback full time, and we've seen way worse play. So I don't know, man. It could be interesting, but as of right now, if Jaren Warren is the guy moving forward, it's going to deplete everything around him, and I would absolutely be very nervous if I have any of the Minnesota Vikings running backs at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at that. If you're looking at that, is it really just Addison? Is that the only one? And even then, you're like, I guess you start Addison because you got him and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that and TJ Hawkinson at this point are it.
Yeah. All right, makes sense. All right, moving on. We got some more quarterback problems here. Matthew Stafford has a sprained thumb. He's day-to-day right now, but there's also rumors that he could go on the IR. So keep an eye on that. They did not light up the scoreboard. We're going to talk about it in Ice and Fire. We both had Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, little hey on the Moana raft. Yeah, I mean, they both did not have great games, just, a handful of catches and, low yardage here. So this is going to be rough. And then we've got a new quarterback, again, no one knows about. Brett Ripon, is that correct? Is going to be Stafford's backup, could start this week. Do you know anything about him, Frank? What's going to happen here?
Came from Boise 2015, ended up playing with the Denver Broncos in 2019, has not really seen the field, and to be honest with you, hasn't done much. I believe he even I'll have to double check on this, but I think he even did some things in the Canadian Football League at one point. So yeah, man. Yeah. So I don't really know, John. I think that this is going to significantly hurt, again, everybody for the Rams organization. I mean, you have Matthew Stafford, who is throwing the ball around like crazy. And then you bring in a guy like this who's just been a journeyman and really hasn't been able to get it done. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, in the next episode with our starts and sits, man, we're just going to be like, I don't know. All right, another quarterback, Kenny Pickett for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I saw, man, he got crushed on that play, and it absolutely was a penalty. I mean, it was definitely roughing the passer. They didn't call it. Sucks. He's got ribs issue here. His game time call. They play on Thursday Night Football. As of right now, this is Tuesday morning. It doesn't look good so far, but keep an eye on that. That changes everything as well. You get Trubisky in there. I mean, I think you could start Pickens at that point, but you don't love it. Is that pretty much how you feel? And anyone else other than other than maybe Najee at this point? But that's Tennessee defense, man. I mean, you don't. Yeah. Is it really just going to be George Pickens if we've got a backup quarterback?
I think you can potentially even look to fire up Deontay Johnson. What we've seen is Deontay Johnson is really doing a great job of getting open in the games that he's been able to play. So you might be able to also fire him up, especially in a deep league. So I wouldn't count him out as well.
Yeah, he was heavily targeted. He's definitely the possession receiver. He's right back into that fold. Then you take a deep shot with George Pickens. So that kind of seems to be the only pattern I can find on this Pittsburgh offense. They just have zero identity yet at this point. Okay, moving on here. We've got interesting. We talked about this a couple weeks ago on the podcast, Frankie, and it looks like we were Frank Stradamus on this one. Bills looking to sign Leonard Fournette, pending a physical right now. What do you think this does? Does Fournette have any standalone value, or is this just kind of going to really hurt James Cook a bit?
I think it's going to do both. I think definitely Fournette's going to have some standalone value, and I think it's absolutely going to eat into James Cook. Now, what this could do for James Cook is it could now open up the receiving end of the spectrum a little bit more. The problem with that is we saw towards the tail end of last year and even the fall or the previous year, Fournette became more of a receiving back. So it makes me a little bit uneasy. But yes, man, I think that eventually it might not be the first week, might not be the second week, but heading down the stretch, definitely in shit weather, I could see Fournette getting the ball often, for sure.
It feels like a Zeke and Ramondre situation. Yeah, where it's really going to be annoying. And unless James Cook gets the receiving work, I mean, look at Ramondre. Unless he's getting the receiving work, he's just not bringing it for you. Yeah, he's not doing it for you. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing how that shakes out here. Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver for the New England Patriots, out for the season with a torn ACL. I don't think a lot of you were starting Kendrick Bourne anyway. The passing game for the Patriots, I mean, is this anything you want any part of anyway?
No.
At this point, especially.
He literally might have been the only guy, and now it's zero.
Okay. Daniel Jones. All right, well, let's get a few quarterbacks with some good news here, or at least kind of good news. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, quarterback for the New York Football Giants, cleared to play in Week 9. Doesn't mean necessarily he is absolutely going to, but he's trending in the right direction, so keep an eye on him. We should have him back here. Kyler Murray getting close to returning, but he looked at the schedule and said, yeah, I feel pretty good. Who are we playing? The Browns in Cleveland. And he goes, oh, yeah, not quite yet. I need just, a little bit more time, one more week. Kyler Murray will not make his debut in Week 9 versus the Browns. Josh Dobbs, a revenge game for Dobbs, right?
Well, you would think so, except apparently the coach came out last night and ended up saying that Dobbs will not be the starting quarterback for whatever reason. They're
trading him.
Outright saying they have to be.
They must be trading him.
With Kyler,
you know what?
Back,
they're probably trading him back to Cleveland.
Bring it, please.
I would not even be surprised if that happened.
Swap the pick back. Here, take your pick back. Like this never happened.
We fucked up. Sorry. We don't know what we were thinking.
Just kidding.
Darren Waller, this was unfortunate, man. God, just when you get a couple of good games out of him, he's just the king of soft tissue issues right now. Darren Waller, tight end for the New York Football Giants, left the game early, very early in the game with a hamstring injury. He's definitely questionable. These hamstrings, I don't know if it's the same hamstring. I assume it is, but it's just something that kind of lingers and easily re-injured. I think that it's like 65% to re-injure hamstring injuries in the NFL, something like that. But keep an eye on him. Very unlikely for him to play, it looks like, at this point. Derrick Henry, running back for the Tennessee Titans for the next 20 hours maybe, or less than that, till 4 o'clock. Apparently it came out, well, he's dealing with an ankle injury. That's what the news is. He's questionable for Thursday Night Football. If he does not go, you fire up Tajay Spears. This is a great situation for him. But Derrick Henry, it sounds like, looking at the insiders here on NFL Network, that Derrick Henry is not looking to be dealt. Do you believe that?
So yeah, I do think that that he is actually going to end up being dealt. I think that this is all a charade. I think that maybe he thinks that he might not, because the way Will Levis played, which hats off to you, was dynamite. We'll talk about that here in a second. But John, I really think there's a few serious suitors here. Dallas Cowboys being one. You have the Browns being another. Apparently he was spotted in Cleveland Hopkins Airport over this past week. And apparently the Ravens are absolutely serious contenders in getting Derrick Henry. So who knows, man? I mean, if they're truly basing this off of the Will Levis stuff, okay, maybe he actually has something here to where they could build around Will Levis. They have DeAndre. They have, Derrick Henry. Maybe they're like, hold on, we're going to pump the brakes. This dude went nuts. Or it could be like, hey, we want to completely rebuild around that of Will Levis. So maybe we need to start offloading some of these high ticket items. And so I think, though, he'll probably be dealt. That's what my gut is telling me.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see some move. I wish we were recording this on Wednesday morning so I could actually tell you, but because of scheduling, we had to do it Tuesday morning. So sorry, guys. We'll have news on who was dealt, who was traded, and how that impact is going to happen potentially in the next episode or next week. All right. Sounds good. Let's get the Frankie and Johnny's Song of Ice and Fire. Okay. Let's get to it here. We had some guys that hurt you here, no question about it. Cooper Kupp, second week in a row on ice, man. I think it's situational, and it was usually one or the other would pop off. It'd be Puka or it'd be Cooper. Well, this week, they were both kind of down there. So both of them really had 4 points. Not a whole lot going on there, a couple catches. Lamar Jackson, I don't know how these guys just keep winning, keep dominating, and then you got Lamar Jackson on ice. 18 for 27, 157 yards and a touchdown. only rushed for 17 yards and had 4 sacks, so 10 points out of Lamar Jackson. All right, we got some running backs here, Frank. I believe we told people not to start these people, and they all had 4 points. Why don't you give us a trio of running backs that hurt you?
Yeah, guys. I mean, we're talking Dameon Pierce. We're talking Alexander Madison and Deontay Foreman. Right. All of these guys were really sketchy coming into this week with difficult matchups. We even said with Dameon Pierce, probably not a guy that we would look to start. And even that of Madison, we said that, probably Akers is going to look to take some of the fold. And he did. And so here, and even with Kirk Cousins gone, man, it's going to cause a shitstorm of things to happen. But really, really tough sledding with Dameon Pierce, Madison, and Foreman this week, man, on ice.
Yeah, really a difficult week for some running backs here. We also had Aaron Jones with 5 points. Didn't help you out much there. Let's talk about this Monday night game we just had, Frank, with the Raiders. Talk to me about the Raiders offense because it's all basically on ice. But talk to me here. What's going on?
It's terrible, John. It is terrible. Now, okay, we got to get flowers where flowers are due. Detroit's defense, for the most part, is very good. Very good. They're a good team. But the Raiders had open players all over the place, and the quarterback could not get them the ball. Jimmy G looks terrible, not even serviceable. He looks terrible. And so because of that, you have Jacoby Myers with 2 points. Devontae Adams, I just have to say here for a second, and this dude was open on 3 touchdowns. Breakaway 60-yarder, a 90-yarder, and a 40-yarder. He was wide open. Nobody even around him, and Jimmy G couldn't get him the ball. Dude, if I am Devontae Adams, I'm doing everything I can to get the hell out by the end of today.
I was just going to say that. Did you see him at the end of the game? How pissed? I mean, that's the look on the face of a guy who's saying, fuck you, trade me now. This is bullshit. What a waste of talent, man. My God, it was so frustrating watching that game. Jacoby Myers was all over the field wide open as well, and they just couldn't give him the ball.
Crazy.
What do we have here? Jacoby Myers with 2 points, Devontae Adams less than 2 points. He had 1 catch for 11 yards. Jesus, man, it's just brutal. Okay, Christian Watson, 4 points. Patrick Mahomes. Now, the guy was sick. He had to have an IV prior to the game. He had the flu. It clearly affected him there, but less than 4 points out of Patrick Mahomes. That is pretty rare, man. All right, let's get over to fire. All right, Frankie, talk to me about a couple quarterbacks here. Frank, who's top of the list?
John, first and foremost, we're going to dive into DC, baby, because we got someone howling at the moon. Who am I talking about? Woo, we're talking Sam Howell, baby, on Halloween. What did he do? He threw for 397 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and had a passer rating of 114, John. I think these Commanders have found their franchise quarterback. If they can continue to build around him, what he did in multiple games now against the Eagles is nothing to shy away from. Dude was absolutely on fire. 39 fantasy points coming from Samuel Howling at the Moon Howell, baby. Unbelievably on fire.
I love that. We're calling today's episode the Halloween episode. How does that sound for you? Happy Halloween? I like that. I like that. All right, let's get into number 2, right behind Sam Howell. Halloween is Dak Prescott with 35 points. Really good game from the Cowboys. That team's really starting to hit their groove. CeeDee Lamb had a great game. I mean, they're coming on now, man. That's a dangerous team with that defense to come on strong with the offense. Hey, talk about the surprise here with number 3, Frankie, coming out of Tennessee.
Did we not talk about this last week when we started talking about mayonnaise and coffee and buffalo sauce and Pepsi and all this shit? Yeah, the Mayo Man showed up as the number 3 quarterback of the week. We're talking Will Levis, rookie, coming in from that of Kentucky, guys. Finally gets the nod, didn't even start. Malik Willis started. He got replaced by Will Levis. Will Levis came on and threw for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns, and they weren't gimme touchdowns. These were beautifully placed balls. Absolutely insane game for that of Will Levis. Hats off to you. You were on fire.
Great to see, man. Great to see. And we'll talk about him here in a little bit with our Thursday night preview. Jalen Hurts coming in with 33 points as well. Will Levis, by the way, 34 points. in half
34
PPR.
points.
I mean, wow. Fantastic, man. Jalen Hurts, 33 points. Josh Allen staying at the top, 33 points out of him as well. Joe Burrow, 30 points. We're starting to see the cream rise above here. You know, these guys that we were worried about, we're not really worried about. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. They're bringing it for you, man. Justin Herbert as well with 30 points. Tua, low week for Tua. He's the number 8 quarterback with 27 points. That just seems to be where he lives. Josh Dobbs in there with 25 points and Derek Carr with 22 points. Oh, wait, can we also, I'm sorry, I wasn't even going to say this, but at number 11 under quarterbacks, Taysom goddamn Hill. Yeah, here he is.
Row.
Here we go, right in the middle of the season where we've got a tight end, running back, receiver, and quarterback all wrapped up in the one here, man. 22 points for Taysom Hill. Wait, let's see what he did, though. What did we do here? We had a reception for 14 yards on one target. We had
44 passing yards.
I can't even look at his stats because it's so weird. I can't even understand it.
14 receiving yards, 63 rushing yards on 9 carries. He had 44 passing yards. He had 1 reception and 2 rushing touchdowns. What? What?
And that's a guy you can plug in as your tight end.
Hey, man,
you know?
I'll take him as my tight end. Just put him
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we go. I thought that shit was over, but here we go again. It's like, hey, guys, we're 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season. Let's bring out Taysom Hill again. Let's see what happens. Let's piss off everyone. I love it, man. All right, what are we looking at with running backs, Frank? Give me some good news.
Oh, we got some great news, baby. He was one of our starts of the week. He is back in action. Jahmyr Gibbs, again, back-to-back weeks. This past week, Monday night, torched the Raiders. 26 carries, 152 yards rushing, and a touchdown. And he also caught 5 catches for 37 yards, was all over the place. They had no answer for Jahmyr Gibbs. Absolutely on fire. What did he end up having? 28.4 points in half PPR, back-to-back 20-plus point weeks. Love to see it, baby.
Is there anything better than the guy that we put on the cover of our Start Sit episode be the number 1 running back on the week? There's nothing better than that. It just, chef's kiss. It's beautiful. Yeah, Detroit's in great shape. This is without David Montgomery. They've got a great 1-2 punch here. And Jahmyr Gibbs, we finally got to see it. It took us, 6, 7, 8 weeks here, but we finally got to see what he's capable of. He's got the juice, man. He looks awesome. He looks like Alvin Kamara in his prime.
That's exactly it. That's exactly the reference I was going to make. He's 100% Alvin Kamara in his prime.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best comp so far, but that's great. Gus Edwards, the Gus bus. How about this, man? Yeah, 3 touchdowns on the ground here, 27 points out of Gus Edwards. That's why you saw Lamar's stats and Lamar on ice. They just didn't need it. They just ran the ball like they always do. CMC, 26 points, still in top 3, of course. Travis Etienne, man, this guy is having a season.
Dominating.
Wow, is he having a season? I got to watch it live, and they split him out wide as a receiver. That beautiful touchdown down the sideline they had to him. I mean, the guy really is doing it all. It's pretty impressive. 25 points out of him. Here's your boy right here. Alvin Kamara, talk about it.
He is. Alvin Kamara, man, just absolutely having himself another week, John. What he did this past week, he ended up having 51 receiving yards. He had on 17 carries, 59 rushing yards. He had 4 receptions, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 receiving touchdown. Doing it all, man. 25 fantasy points in half PPR. John, the last 5 weeks of Alvin Kamara since he's come back in half PPR, 15, 17, 14, 23, and 25. Dominant. Absolutely dominant.
Yeah, we were wondering what this backfield was going to look like. You have Jamal Williams back. You've got Kendre Miller's healthy and in the backfield. It's Alvin Kamara, man. I mean, those guys are just kind of luxury pieces at this point. It's Kamara's backfield, and he's taking advantage of it. Breece Hall, Breece Lightning, still up there. 19 points out of him. Beautiful 50-yard reception. Just gorgeous, man. The guy gets the ball. I get excited every time. Good to see Austin Eckler back here. That's really nice. 18 points out of Eckler. Joe Mixon back in the game with 18 points. That was nice to see. Yeah, very shocking.
He's on the sit board for us. Him and the next guy here.
Yeah, that was San Francisco defense. I mean, of course. What do it's supposed to be very, very scary, but we found some vulnerabilities there and some chinks in the armor. Yeah, they have three drops in a row we've got for San Francisco. The NFL, baby. It's any given Sunday, man.
Not for long. That's what it stands for. Not for long.
Not for long. That's right. The next guy, Javonte Williams. Wow, what a shocking game that is. Nobody. Denver and Kansas City, and Denver beats the shit out of them. I mean, wow.
Beat the shit out of them. It wasn't close. Denver controlled that game.
They did. Yeah, totally shocking. Javonte Williams, 17 points. Saquon Barkley up there. That's nice. 15 points. Derrick Henry, 15 points. And Zach Moss, 15 points. All right, Frank, who's the top of the receiver board, baby?
Baby, we're diving into Dallas deep here. We talked about Dak. We're going to talk about his number one receiver. Absolutely going nuclear here. CeeDee Lamb, John, what did he end up going? He had 14 targets, 12 receptions, 158 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. He was all over the place, and the Rams could not stop him, no matter what he was doing. He truly is. You know, when Jamar Chase made that remark, he's always open. CeeDee Lamb came back last week and said, I agree with Jamar. I'm always open. The last 2 weeks, CeeDee Lamb and both Jamar Chase have proven they have been constantly open. Unbelievable job.
Yeah, it's nice to see, man. D-Hop, right up there at number 2, 38 or 35 points out of D-Hop. Nice game, man. Thank you to Will Levis. A.J. Brown, number 3 receiver this week. Man, come on now. Last week we did this, and you're like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
I'm there.
Is A.J. Brown the best receiver in the NFL right now?
I mean, beating Megatron's record is already almost unfathomable. And then you layer on what the catches. He's not open. These are catches that he is not open. That's the difference. And so, yeah, I'm eating my words from last week. I'm jumping on board, and I'm definitely putting in A.J. Brown right now as top 2. It's with Tim and Tyreek. I think he's surpassed that of Stephon Diggs at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, come on. What is it? 6 games straight of 125 plus yards? I mean,
nuts.
Bananas. Absolutely bananas. On a team that's riddled with talent, by the way. It's not like he's the guy and he's it and they feed it everything through him. No, they got talent all over the place. It's impressive, man. Yeah. And Tyreek and A.J. Brown, it's so funny because, I mean, could you get 2 more different type style receivers? Completely different. So comparing them even is nearly impossible. It really is. Number 4 coming in, Rashid Shaheed. All right. A little sleeper action going, man. Love that. 24 points out of him. There's Tyreek Hill, of course. He will never allow himself to be out of the top 5 receivers at 23 points. Jalen Waddle, nice to see that come back. That was getting a little iffy for me of going, all right, man, these number 2 receivers, you got T. Higgins, you got Devonta Smith, you've got Jalen Waddle. These guys were drafted really, really high. I think they all scored this week, which was really nice to see. So I was like, oh, okay, we're okay. We can still start these guys. We can breathe. Yes. Jahan Dotson, you son of a bitch. Oh, my God. I dropped him last week. I even said to you can go ahead and drop him. It's fine. Well, here we go. He's the number 7 receiver this week with 21 points. Ate my words. I love that. Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, 20 points each. We talked about that. Gabe Davis. All right, babe. Good job, Babe Davis.
Yeah,
there you go.
Davis there.
Boom bust week, and it was a boom week for him at 19 points. Frankie, talk to me about the tight ends here, man.
Dude, the tight. I mean, Taysom Hill, number 1. Like, why is he a tight end? How can we consider him a tight end?
Absurd. It's absurd.
But he runs a tight end. I mean, 22 points. We just talked about it. Just absolutely absurd. Just ridiculous. I mean, again, just to reiterate what he did, guys. 14 receiving yards, 63 rushing yards on 9 carries. Okay. He had 44 passing yards. He had 1 reception and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's wow. I mean, wow.
You know what I need to do in the next episode? I need to look at the prop bets for Taysom Hill. What in the hell do those even look like?
Great idea.
Is it over under 30 yards rushing? Is it over under 60 yards passing? I mean, there's got to be all these different prop bets that are probably bananas for him,
It
right?
would be so fun. I haven't even dug into that. I would love to see what those are.
Let's check it out. We got to check it out for next time, man. Yeah. Actually, what we should do is do our little Frank It Up and have, let's take a bet on Taysom Hill this week. What's he going to do? Are we going to do it as passing, as receiving, as rushing? What are we doing here?
Got a dream matchup too, playing against the Chicago Bears at home in the Superdome. Ooh.
All right.
Look up a little parlay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right, coming in at number 2 after Taysom Hill here, we've got Trey McBride. How about this, man? Tight end for Arizona Cardinals. How about 20 points out of Trey McBride? George Kittle, very good game. Came back here. 9 catches, 149 yards, 20 points out of George Kittle. TJ Hawkinson looking good as well, 17 points. Sam Laporta. This guy's been a stud. Guy's been a stud, man. 15 points out of him. David Njoku got in the end zone. Was a great job. 15 points as well. All right, man. Let's look at Thursday Night Football here. Let's take a look at the preview, what we're thinking here. We've got the 3-4 Tennessee Titans with a new outlook on life with Will Levis coming in at quarterback. They are going to be playing at the 4-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are favored by 3 in this matchup, which does kind of surprise me. I feel like this line might move a little bit after what we just seen.
Yeah.
Over under of 36. So not looking to light up the scoreboard apparently here. And I think that's pretty much every Steelers line is pretty much going to be under 40 at this point, is what I feel like. Talk to me a little bit, though. What are you thinking about this matchup here, man?
I think it's going to be interesting. This is a very difficult matchup because the Tennessee Titans right now are in a massive situation to sell. They're huge sell-off. Yeah. And so, I mean, you fire up Derrick Henry if he's able. If he's not able, then you fire up Tajay Spears. And you absolutely fire up D-Hop. The reality situation is 2 of those guys might not even be on the team. And I'm talking Henry and D-Hop. And so it's really going to be weird, man. I mean, if D-Hop isn't there, I like Westbrook, and I forget the last part. Yeah, thank you. Westbrook there. And Chig might end up coming around and things like that with Will Levis now throwing the ball. And, looking at Will Levis, I think you can actually fire him up in a 2-quarterback league, depending on what happens. But, John, I mean, if you don't have D-Hop and Derrick Henry, I don't know if you can actually then fire Will Levis up. So
I know
it really does depend on what's going to happen after today. And we're going to figure this out after this airs. So I don't know, man. This is really weird. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm hoping that they do make some moves today. I mean, that's really what I'm hoping. And I know it's annoying for everyone because you guys already know what's happened. We're recording it and it's going to drop Wednesday morning. But yeah, I think they need to, even though Derrick Henry is a great piece and he's playing well for them. I think they need to. They've got some really good young talent on here. Give Tajay Spears the opportunity. You've got Will Levis. I think they need to move some of these guys. Maybe they won't with D-Hop because it really is, the offense kind of is flowing through him at the moment with Will Levis. He had a good connection there, 3 touchdowns. Why would you mess that up? I wouldn't, Plus, they paid the shit out of DeAndre Hopkins. They had to pick up his option. It was rough. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. But I agree. If Derrick Henry's out and not on the team, Tajay Spears, you got to play, and D-Hop, you got to play. Yeah. Will Levis, I agree. In a super flex 2-quarterback league, I think you can play him there. I wouldn't do it in a 1-quarterback league. This is still a very, very good Pittsburgh defense. What about Pittsburgh? Talk about Pittsburgh here. They're at home. What are they going to be? Mitchell Trubisky most likely going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah. It's going to be Mitchell. It's going to be Trubisky throwing the ball more than likely, assuming Pickett can't run. And I do like the opportunity that Deontay Johnson and George Pickens both brings. I think that they both can eat enough. I mean, we've seen Mitchell Trubisky throw the ball very, very well in the past. And so I think having him as a backup is a very nice option. And I don't think it's going to be that much different, and I'm just going to be honest with you, than what Pickett has shown. I mean, Pickett hasn't been the staple piece of greatness this year by any means. So I actually think that if I had Deontay Johnson, I'll probably look to fire him up in this matchup. And then same thing with Pickens. I like both of them this week. Other than that, man, I actually am not super big on Najee. I'm not super big on Najee with this matchup. This defensive front and the Tennessee Titans is pretty decent. And so I'm not a big fan of Najee this week. Actually, Jalen Warren might be a little bit more interesting in a super deep league because he might get a little bit more of the passing work. So again, but the two guys I'm willing to put my money on is going to be DJ and that of Pickens.
Yeah, I agree. I would stay away from the running game, and if you can afford it. You may have injuries, you may have buys, you may not be able to do that. But bye week we got CMC on a bye. I mean, there's a couple guys missing, so you're probably going to have to start them. Yep. Temper the expectations, though. They're going to have to, Najee or Jalen Warren. It's going to have to be through the passing game, most likely. This Tennessee rush defense is very good, very, very good. So what do you think the outcome's going to be here, man? Who are you going with?
Man, this is going to be tough. I got to go Steelers here. I got to take the Steelers at home, 4-3, coming off a brutal loss, right? And just with the shakeup happening, I think that Mitchell Trubisky can get it done rather than that of putting my faith in that of a rookie against this style defense. I do love the under here. Maybe even a tease here I like. Maybe Pittsburgh +3. You got under then 42. I really like that as well. Thursday nights, the unders have been looking really nice for the most part.
Yeah, I like that too. That's a really good call, man. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you know how it is when a rookie quarterback or a backup quarterback comes in and just lights everyone on fire. It's because they were prepared for the other quarterback. Totally. And the team had to make a shift and make a change of what they're doing. I think they've got a little film on them from last week. This Pittsburgh defense, it could be rough going for Will Levis with this and kind of a come back to earth situation in Pittsburgh. Not where you want to start your first game.
No.
All right, man. Anything else with this game, buddy?
No. Good here.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That is our Week 8 Ice and Fire and Thursday night preview. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Frankly Fantasy Football. And I know you're all listening to us. Come on, come watch us, baby. Come watch our beautiful faces. You know, Frankie's got some good facial hair going on. You know, hey, can you do a mustache for us, please?
Totally can.
I want to see just a full porn stash. I want you to look like Arthur Smith from the Falcons.
Happy to do that. Be more than happy to do that.
All right, man. Thank you so much, everybody. Frankie, any parting words for us, brother?
Guys, tune in for this coming week for the next start, sit, smash and pass, and hitting and quitted episode because we're firing up some good ones, guys. Good luck on this Thursday night matchup.
Let's go, baby. May the fantasy gods smile upon you. Bye.